Sam have been at home, so we'll have a rhythm to jump back into when we get home. And I wanted to sort of give you some thoughts on how we go ahead and do that and how I try to plan for it as much in advance. I know people get really sick of saying, oh, she just plans everything. And, I do, because that way, even if things go awry, which often they do, I still have that backup plan, and we still have those elements of we've sort of had this calm collaboration. And so it really helps us, especially when we have sort of missteps. So I really started planning for getting back into our rhythm way back in June when I purchased our tickets. So now it's August, in case you're watching this way later. So I planned when I purchased the tickets in June. Our flight is really short from Utah to San Diego. From Salt Lake City to San Diego, it's about 90 minutes at most. And so I knew that if I could get home early in the morning, then I would have the whole day to sort of regroup. And so I know you can't do that when you're looking at a cross-country trip, or you're looking at, something where you're traveling a lot farther. But when you are getting ready to book those tickets, really think about, okay, what's my day going to be like when, after we get landed, when we get home? And is it going to be super late? If at all possible, don't make it super late in the day unless it's close to bedtime. So hopefully once you've got luggage and everything, people can go to sleep in the car. Sort of think about that. If you've got kids, like Soraya is super particular. She will not go to bed without pajamas on. So I am forever carrying pajamas everywhere so that she's got an extra set of pajamas if we're going to be someplace where we're going to be, it's going to be bedtime and she's going to be asleep, because I don't want to try to put her in pajamas after we get home. And the child will wake up in the middle of the night and put pajamas on. So I've learned that the best thing for her is to just pack pajamas. So think about that when you're getting ready to, plan your flights home. What time are you getting in? And of course, you can't, of course, again, you can't account for everything, because maybe your flight's delayed or canceled, or, Delta had this big crazy this week and lots of people's flights were canceled. So, but having that plan in place at least gives you that little bit of peace. You and your spouse or your partner have really talked about it. So even though Eric's not traveling with us, we talked about those things when I went ahead and made the reservations. And that way he and I were on the same page about that. And he knew, okay, this is what time I need to make sure that I'm there. And in his mind, I know he's like, this is what time I need to make sure the house is picked up by. So I think that really being on the same page with your partner, even when you're not traveling together, is super important. So every day that we've been gone, we've sort of had a powwow. And it's not even been about business stuff. It's just been a checking in to make sure that everybody's doing okay on both sides. And just so that we can connect. I think it's really easy when you're not traveling with your partner to feel disconnected the entire time that you're gone. And I don't like that feeling. So, and hopefully you don't either. So hopefully you're connecting when you're apart. So one of the reasons why I booked our flight so that we arrived early in the morning was so that we could just drop right back into things today. So hopefully, by bedtime tonight, all of the laundry will at least be in the laundry room. And that's one other thing. So when you're staying with family members, do laundry so that when you go home, you're just putting it back in the drawer. So I'm at my mom's house. I spent yesterday sort of doing laundry so that, and because Eleanor's our laundry person at home, so I didn't want her to be overrun with the laundry room being full of trip clothes. So I made sure that our laundry was done. And that way, when we get home, we only have what we had on yesterday and what they wore to bed. So that will make it a lot easier for her to not feel overwhelmed, and also for us to have clothes to wear when we get there, because we sort of operate on not having a ton of clothes, and that's super helpful then when you're away on a trip to just sort of be able to come home. And there have been times in the past when we've not stayed at family, and we've just found a laundromat, or we've made sure that the hotel that we stayed at. I love Extended Stay America because they all have laundromats. So we used to stay at those a lot. And the day before we went home, I always spent the time doing some laundry. And the great thing about those places is they're open until the wee hours of the night. So you could put kids to bed and mom or dad can go down and do laundry while it's later at night. So, keep those things in mind, because that's one thing that's like super overwhelming when you come home from a trip, is all the laundry and trying to get through it all and get it all done. And there again, I planned before I left, we made sure that the laundry was caught up before we left. And I know that some of these things sound really silly, but I've been a mom for a long time, and we've traveled with our kids a lot. And so, these are just tips that I have sort of put together, and I make sure that we sort of keep all the time in our rhythm. So again, today we're going to go home and we'll hit the ground running. Eric's already got chiropractic appointments because we're all sort of out of whack. And that happens when you travel. So Eric's going to take us right from the airport to the chiropractor. So that will be nice. And then we'll head home and just sort of get through things. One of the biggest things I think when you get home, especially if you get home earlier in the day, is to really guard that sleep time at night. I will really be careful today that Soraya hopefully doesn't take a nap, so that it'll be time for her to go to bed at 7 o'clock, and she'll be able to get a full night's sleep then, and everybody will be in a good place. I'll be able to sleep. Dad will be able to sleep. Everybody will be able to sleep. So, keep those things in mind when you're doing your trip planning and when you're coming home. And then tomorrow, tomorrow's our co-op day, and so we'll be right back into going to co-op. I do find that when we get back from a trip, and it's not just my choleric self, because all of my kids have different temperaments, but I do find that when we get back from a trip, if we are right back into life right away, especially if I've done the planning with the making sure the laundry was all caught up and making sure that our menus planned. So one of the things that Eric did last week was shop while we were gone. And on times that we've all traveled together, I've made sure that there's stuff for at least 3 meals when we get home, so that way all I have to do is throw things together. And that's where the Instant Pot is like so crazy awesome, because you just keep it in the freezer and then you can throw it in the Instant Pot and it's done. I made sure that I did that planning for the meals, so that we're going to come home and there'll be food and it won't be a big deal. And tomorrow we'll hop right back into our rhythm with our co-op. So, when you're coming back from your trip, I know it's really tempting to go, oh, I just want to take a few days and just have a vacation for my vacation. Don't do it. Just get right back into what you're doing, because then it'll be a week and then you'll be like, how am I going to get my rhythm back? Well, you didn't do it in the beginning, so it's going to be way harder. I just find that if you just get right back on the horse right after you're done with your vacation, it's a lot easier to get going. So hopefully that's helpful.